freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode number 400.
Yay! That is 50 days of 8-hour days.
What?
That's what 400 episodes are.
50 days we've been doing this straight? That's amazing. Episode 400 of Gun Freedom Radio, where we engage, we educate, and we inform. We are brought to you by azfirearmsauctions.com, where you set the price on guns, ammo, and accessories. I am one of your hosts, Cheryl Todd.
And I'm the other guy, Dan Todd. Our theme today is Simon Says, Speak Up.
Yep.
And our guest is Tony Simon. Tony is the owner of Simon Says Train, and the second is for everyone, diversity shoot, the 2A4E. After the Sandy Hook tragedy and extreme gun legislation in New Jersey motivated Tony to get involved in the Second Amendment movement. In 2015, he started the Second is for Everyone Diversity Shoot. This program has grown since the first event with six attendees to having hundreds of people from every possible demographic.
Welcome back to the show, Tony.
Hey, thanks for having me on, and congratulations on show 400.
Thank you.
Achievement. Yeah.
It's exciting because, I mean, and who better? I mean, this is a big day, and who better to have on than the pound for pound biggest gun bunny in the firearms industry. Did I say that right?
Close enough. It's the largest pound for pound gun bunny in America.
There it is. I love it. This is perfect. Oh my goodness. Anyway, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it, and looking forward to being out in Arizona shortly.
Yes, you are going to be one of our speakers for the 10th anniversary Celebrate and Protect the Second Amendment rally. That's going to happen on Saturday, February 18th. From 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's always on the lawn of the Arizona State Capitol. This year, we're moving right across the street. We're going to be at the Wesley Bolin Plaza. It's going to open it up a little bit for us because we are growing and inviting people from far across the land. So why is this event so important that we need the pound for pound largest gun bunny in the industry to come out?
I believe we as a whole, as not only the firearm industry, but the Second Amendment community, need to hear voices from across the country and from every demographic. Because not one person, not one race, not one gender, not one anything is going to save the second. It's going to take us all. And you need to hear from people with different perspectives and experiences and perceptions about how the Second Amendment is important to them and how to continue and improve upon the fight, because it's not stopping. Being in New Jersey, we saw the Supreme Court Bruin decision, as a total win. We knew it was going to be a win nationwide, but we also knew the anti-gunners were going to double down on stupid and try to hit us with everything. They were looking at what Clarence Thomas said don't do as a thing to do, and everything they wrote was exactly what he said was unacceptable, and we'd have to fight it. So in Jersey, we knew that was coming. We were like, yay! All right, now we've really got to fight. And I think in a lot of places that didn't have to deal or don't have to deal with the anti-freedom movement like we do in Jersey, kind of didn't know that. They thought it was just going to be a whoop, whoop. Yes, everybody's going to have freedom, and we'll have constitutional carry shortly, and we've defeated them. you don't defeat these dragons because they're funded by a freedom-hating billionaire. And he has more money. Oh man, I'm going to throw an old saying out there. He has more money than Carter has liver pills.
I haven't heard that in ages.
You're dating all of us right now.
But
Yeah, I know.
you also have a governor in New Jersey that kind of doesn't even know what the Constitution is.
The
Right out of his own
Constitution is
mouth.
above his pay grade, according
Right.
to his own quote.
Yeah.
He's another freedom-hating billionaire, and he wanted to run on being the super anti-gun governor. He wanted to be the whole dude who shut down. He wanted to be gun control governor because he wanted to run for president on that same platform.
Mhm.
Yes,
No.
that was his hopes and dreams, and
Stop it.
he was more delusional than Chris Christie, thinking he could be the president of the United States. Neither one of them are liked in the state. I'm sorry, neither one of them are pro 2A. And then that's what I was preaching the entire time. I'm like, do not be fooled by any politician, regardless of party. If they don't support your Second Amendment rights, don't support them. And you will hear us shouting from the rooftops if he runs for president that he is totally anti-gun. We'll probably only be drowned out by him screaming about how loudly he's anti-gun. But we have to let people know this is not a compromise. This is not someone we need. And I look forward to going to Arizona to tell you guys what's coming
Yes.
and how you need to help fight it. And I think a lot of people already know it, but it's not going to be one knockout win. This is not going to be something you're going to do this year's. I've read your legislation, the ridiculousness of it all. This is a blueprint that they faxed to every anti-rights hating group across the country. This is going to be pushed in every state. You can no longer depend on living in a free state. They want to turn all your states into slave states. They have a blueprint. They have marching orders. And it's incumbent upon us, the freedom-loving people, to stay in this fight. So you have to support your local Second Amendment advocacy only because the national groups only have a finite amount of money. So they can only fight lawsuits they pick and choose that will have the most impact. Your local groups are the ones that are going to have to fight the local fight. So those are the people you're going to have to support the most. Also, people poo-poo the NRA because, oh, listen, let's be truthful. They're going through some stuff right now, and they've affected their own integrity and the way people see them.
Sure.
Stick with your local group because you get to see them in meetings every month. You get to talk to them, and you can have relationships with these people so you know where your money is going. And if you don't like it, you can voice your opinion at a meeting that may have 20 or 30 people in it. It won't be a once-a-year meeting with hundreds of people in it and tens and thousands of people outside walking the floor show like happens in the NRA annual meeting. So please, my message to you, if you can't make it to Arizona, is this. The fight is never over. This is a generational fight. Get in it by volunteering locally, by donating your money locally, and by getting involved. And if it gets too much for you, because sometimes you do get overwhelmed, take a step back and just take a little time out, but then jump back in the fight when you're ready, because this is not going to end.
No, I think you're exactly right. And that you've said so much there that we can unpack, that the importance of being involved at all levels, right? Nothing wrong. Lots of good things with being involved with the NRA, with the SAF, the Second Amendment Foundation, with GOA, Gun Owners of America. But then also in your state, like here in Arizona, I'm on the board of the AZCDL, the Arizona Citizens Defense League. And we are the actual like boots on the ground. We are the watchmen on the wall, the guard dogs in the legislature. And, if you can only afford one, then I would say you're right, pick the local. But if you have the wherewithal, then join a few of them, because then your voice is expanded, and it's so important. And this whole Phil Murphy thing, Danny brings him up more often than he should.
Yeah, can I bring him up again? if anybody can get a message to Phil Murphy, the governor of New Jersey, tell him that he has a better chance of becoming a president of Venezuela, where he really wants to be anyway, because that's the kind of country he wants, and that we as the people will not allow him to be our president.
Well, it sounds like he can afford a plane ticket, but we could pitch in.
I'd be glad to.
We could
I mean,
take up
that'd be the best money invested.
a
But
fund.
how I don't understand. New Jersey is one of the founding states, right? And how they just disregard the Constitution. And he says on public that he doesn't know how did he word it? The Constitution?
It's above his pay grade.
Above his pay grade.
Above his pay grade.
Now,
what? Yes.
How is that above his pay grade?
Because he's willing to say anything, and uneducated people somehow didn't hold him accountable for not being able to understand the Constitution that he swore to protect as a public servant. So you're a billionaire, but you think the Constitution is above your pay grade. That was stupid, but he was never made to pay for it by the media because they like him. He's their governor. He's their dude that they want to champion because they believe in his anti-gun policies and also other silly stuff he was in charge of. They had a mass shooting in New Jersey, the only one we ever had in my lifetime, except one way back in the 40s or 50s or something like that. I think that happened was a school shooting with revolvers, but they had close to one across the street from where I work in Trenton. And he went there and tried to push his anti-gun agenda, talking about we need these bills passed. Well, the mayor of Trenton was there. And what did he say? Listen, we need more programs. We need more policing. We need to be able to stop this gang problem from happening because that's what this was, a gang shooting. You saw that quote once in one newspaper, never again, because they had to push the anti-gun agenda. And the thing was, 4 days before they signed their restrictions into law on 10-round magazine limitations, inability to transfer guns, just all kinds of things 4 days before the event happened. And I'm like,
doesn't smell funny at all.
Oh, not at all, except, the felon that committed the shooting had just gotten out of state prison in February. This shooting happened on Father's Day, and he used a assault weapon with a 30-round clipazine that had been illegal in New Jersey for 30 years.
But wait a minute,
no
he broke the
that.
law. First he shot the gun in the public. 30-round magazine. He was a felon. He possessed a gun. Were they going to let him out for good behavior now?
Yeah.
I have no idea, since again he'd just gotten out in February, and in Father's Day he was shooting up a public venue with not only police outside but police inside. So when I tell you you're on your own, you're on your own.
Yeah. Well, you said that there was a need for programs, right? And, one mayor mentioned that there's a need for programs. They immediately just kind of shut the whole thing down, changed the subject. So grassroots is where it is at. We can only count on ourselves in emergency situations. We can only count on ourselves to create these programs to help improve lives and make everything safer, our homes, our schools, our cities, our grocery stores. So enter a program that you developed that appeals to everyone, and it's right there in the name, right? The second is for everyone, the 2A4E, the cool kids call it. And you are just starting where you start. And you said your first class was 6 people. And a lot of people might have said, well, that was a lot of work. I only touched 6 people. It was a good try, good game, go home. But you did it. Talk to us about that.
The 6 people was including me and my partner. There were only 4 people that weren't us. It was rough. It really was, because I was like, this is an idea I have coming forth. It's just information. I put it on Facebook, and of course, I only knew 50 people on Facebook that were actually friends of mine. And 27 of them said they would come. And I was like, we're going to have a classroom full of people because 27 people said they were going to come.
Yeah.
4.
Yeah. I've been there. I've done that so many times.
Facebook math. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So I mean, that really did like shake my confidence, and I apologize because this was a gun for hire range in New Jersey. Anthony Calandro runs it. And I apologized to him. I was like, Anthony, I thought we'd have a classroom full of people. I'm really sorry. I hope I didn't waste your time. And I love Anthony. That's where I went to be a firearms instructor. I've taken all his classes. He was like, no, you're going to host us again and again and again until that classroom is overflowing.
I love
And
that.
I'm like,
I got goosebumps.
did you see the same 4 people I did? There was 4. Within a year, Anthony came to me and was like, you're going to have to start selling tickets because you've overflown the classroom and we can't have people in the hall because this is a fire hazard.
That's awesome.
So we had to start selling tickets just to limit the people. So when I say grassroots, and if you see a need, you have to do something.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks because it's a little scary because you're putting yourself out there. But if you truly believe, if you 100% believe, and you can find others that believe in what you do, then go for it. I pray all the time on this. I'm a Christian. I'm unashamedly a Christian. I love all people. I respect your religion and your beliefs, and I want you to be able to protect yourself and your loved ones. But I pray to God often that I'm doing the right thing. I pray to God that He helps me and guides me. And also keeps me humble because I don't want to do this for the wrong reasons. I don't want to become what some of us see in the industry as grifters that bounce back and forth and will do anything for money. I didn't even want to ask for money when I started this because I wanted to make people be able to invite their friends and families to these events at a low cost or a free entry or however we could do it so we can encourage people to come. So that's why it's kind of difficult for me to go, hey, we're having a raffle to give away to raise money to go to Arizona. We're having a raffle to raise money to host these events because it feels, I've come to understand funding is needed if you're going to make change. If you're going to affect change, you need to be able to be the places where change is going to happen or where you instigate it. So yes, I'm asking for funding. Second Amendment groups need funding because as American citizens, we not only pay for the lawsuits that infringe, the laws that infringe upon our lives, we have to pay for the fight against the laws that infringe upon our lives. I was told for you to see a court case get to the Supreme Court is $1 million. $1 million got you there. Yeah. So we need the money. We all do. We don't have a pro 2A billionaire supporting us, nor do we need it or want it. Because once somebody starts supporting you, they want to pull your strings and make you dance according to the song they playing. There are 400 million of us. Because it's not just gun owners that should be fighting for the Second Amendment. It's every American should be fighting for the Second Amendment. Even if you don't ever plan on buying a firearm, you should support the rights that you don't use also.
Yes.
And if you don't see that, if you can't, I'll never need a gun. Really? That's a bold statement, Cotton. Because in 2019, you did not think your toilet paper and tissue aisle would be empty.
Right.
Because of a virus. There is no way we're out of all the things, out of all the prepper shows I've seen, nobody ever said, except my friend Sean, you need to stockpile toilet paper. I've never seen that. Okay, so you have no idea what will ever happen, what you will need. You didn't think the United States would have a balloon float completely across our country from a hostile nation spying on us. You're like, it's a balloon. That's Civil War technology. They use balloons to spy on the enemy. I'm like, so don't tell me what you don't need. Don't tell me what you'll never need.
Yeah.
The civil rights were written by our founding fathers. And we're in Black History Month right now, and a lot of people want to cancel the founding fathers because Well, they owned slaves, and they didn't want women to be in power or women to vote. Look, man, the civil rights they spoke about is for everyone now. All
Everyone.
right? It's inclusive. You
That's
need
right.
to fight for those rights because those men formed a government. Not only did they form a government, they formed one that had never been done like that before.
Right.
And they warned you about man and how we are naturally, that people will want to rule you.
Mm-hmm.
And two, they gave you ability, as the comedian said, it's the second thing they wrote,
I love
to
that.
be able to hold on to those rights by being armed against that very government that they did not trust. Why do you trust that same government to do what? Protect your rights? Care about you as an individual? When did that happen? When did the government become the warm and fuzzy good guy that cared about your individual rights?
Yeah.
If you can't give me a date, give me a decade because
I
I've
like it.
missed it.
I like
And
it.
So
Tony, I'd like to add to your comment about, not knowing that we'd run out of toilet paper and stuff on the shelf. The biggest thing that I came out of this with COVID was that I didn't know that the government would do what it did, controlling us, telling us we can't go outside, telling us we have to wear a mask. Who would thought that that would ever happen? So that's why it's super important that we keep our Second Amendment and our Constitution.
Absolutely.
very much so, because you saw what happened in other countries. And then it's amazing to me because you have your news at the end of your fingertips. You can
Mm-hmm.
see what they're living with, and it's not even a different language. You can see what's happening in Australia. You can see what's happening in Canada. The very same people that want us to be like the rest of the world. When you go, Australia told these people to lock in and not leave their house. You couldn't even leave the airport if you didn't have your vaccines and this, that, and the other. And they had camps where they would lock you in. Oh, well, it wasn't really a camp. I mean, you just had to stay there until you were cleared. Is it my
It's not
house?
really a jail,
Yeah.
right? It's not really prison.
It's not
It's
really prison.
just, it's so crazy to me that the theatrics, the gymnastics, the mental gymnastics that people will go through to try to hold on to the wrong ideas, and instead of opening their eyes and seeing what's right before them, which kind of takes me to my next comment, that your social media posts, I am telling you right now, get ready to blush, because really they are some of the most educational and thought-provoking of the hundreds of Second Amendment advocates that I follow. I always, I think I even know what you're going to say, and then what you do say takes it up even a notch above what I think you're going to go with. Where did this voice come from? Did you always have it? Did it develop over the years? Because the way that you think about things and then unpack it, really, really insightful.
Um, yeah, you're right. I am blushing. Um,
You're welcome.
Okay, my viewpoints. I had my own viewpoints when I started this, but being part of the diversity shoot, bringing in people outside of my own echo chamber with different perceptions really help. Different perspectives help because I listen to it. And I realized I can't see everything my way. Understand, the first diversity shoot was Black History Month to introduce Black people to Second Amendment advocacy. And within one event, actually before the event, I went, I have to include everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everyone has to be involved in this. It can't just be us.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm willing to take in information, and it really has added to my perspective, and that helps me have my voice because I've taken in information from Women of the DC Project, Shoot Like a Girl, Girl in a Gun, LGBT groups like Pink Pistols, Operation Blazing Sword. These people are not just people I talk to. These people are friends of mine, and they have an important message, and I want to get it out there. I've I've worked to have my little following that I do have, and it's more inclusive. I was hanging out with Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie, and John Petrolino riding shotgun with Charlie's boyfriend. No, I'm sorry. From
They are joined
That's
at
a
the
good one.
hip.
Yeah.
They are definitely joined at the hip. I love those guys.
Those two
Twins
psychos.
or something.
Hey, what
We
happened
were
in Vegas stays in Vegas. Okay.
well, they did it to me again yesterday. What they did to me in Vegas, but um, those guys are
What did they
great.
do to you?
I can't say because it has to stay in Vegas, but I want to talk to HR. That's all I want to say. I want to talk to HR.
That's fantastic. Clearly, people are going to have to follow your social media, all three of you guys, to know what you're even talking about. But go ahead.
Exactly. But what we were talking about was analytics about the followers, and I have about 18% female following, which they said is pretty good for a guy who's talking about Second Amendment stuff. And I'm like, I want those numbers to be pumped up because I'm not speaking for women. I'm speaking to all people, and sometimes you need to hear from a different perspective than your own.
Absolutely.
But I want women to comment on my page. So guys who follow my page, again, at the 80 something percent, they need to hear what women have to say. So I also have the 2A4E podcast, which Second is for Everyone podcast. And my whole thing is to this year, I'm speaking to women. I'm going to be fishing in the pool of the DC project, and I'm going to be pulling my friends out there because you women are amazing. I've never met one woman from the DC project that only does the DC project. What? I'm like,
we have
no.
a million hats we wear. That's true.
Dude, and I look at it and I go, people go, well, yeah, but we have them on and tell me, Cheryl, about the DC project. I'm like, you think Cheryl does the DC project? Really? That's all you want to hear about, Cheryl? Let's talk to Cheryl about the other things she does to Arizona. How about her business? How about, hey, Cheryl, let's talk about Disney and your grandkids. You know what I mean?
Well, that's an hour right there.
But I'm just saying, you need to start seeing these women as more than just wearing one hat. And I think that's what I'm going to do this year. That's my goal. I'm gonna follow the Diana Mueller formula of finding women that are doing things, and then going, hey, you got one more thing you can do.
Tony, I've been in the gun business pretty well all my life, but in the 1980s, when I had a gun shop, women were not involved in the gun industry. They just weren't. And if they would have been involved like they are now, we wouldn't be having this trouble today because they're the best communicators. They're the best organizers that there has ever been. And we would not be in this
blush about
so that. If we, if they continue to do what they're doing, welcomed into the gun community, they will overtake all this crap that we're fighting right now.
I've said it before. The time of the middle-aged white guy being the face of the Second Amendment, it needs to take a step back. I'm not saying don't be involved. I'm saying support others because this thing has to be multifaceted and multi-angled, just like the attacks against us. We have to come at it from everything. We need LGBTQ. We need every color of the rainbow. We need all 735 genders. I know we make fun of it, but understand, no matter how a person describes themselves and what pronoun they use, they still have a right as a human being to be able to protect themselves in their life. And if we don't promote that because we don't agree with their lifestyle, you're cutting your nose off to spite your face.
Exactly.
We need to turn the gun control into political suicide, and we can't do it just by supporting one or the other wing of the same bird. It needs to be all of us.
Absolutely. And thank you for saying all of that. They used to call gun control the third rail. And so out here in Arizona, we don't have a bunch of subways and stuff going on. But so that had to be explained to me that apparently, the third rail is where the electricity is. You don't touch it because it is instant death. I don't understand how it went from being political suicide, that third rail, to now being like the Phil Murphys. You said he's going to be the only one shouting louder about how anti-gun, how much I'm about to infringe on your rights, how fast I can put this in the shredder. Vote for me so I can shred your rights. and I can be your master. It's insane to me. And when we start reconnecting individual citizens, like you said, I could care less how you dress, what you call yourself. Who cares, right? Let's agree that you have to be your own first responder because no help is coming. And where I use this document a lot, some people are like, I could care less about that document, right? Because it didn't include me when it was written. Okay, that's fine. Let's find out where we do connect and go from there. But I'm sorry, I know you've got things to say. Go ahead.
It happened. You hear slippery slope, and it always sounds like that's unintentional. No, this was an attack on America as a whole that goes back to before I was born. It goes back to McCarthyism. It goes back to Marxism. They have been working towards this goal to make this acceptable. If this happened in the 1950s, Phil Murphy would be dragged out of the Trenton State House by mobs,
Right.
and they would have taken turns, Democrat and Republican, throwing stones at him.
That's true.
But they've made more and more things acceptable. They took civics out of schools, so they don't teach you what is actually in the Constitution. So
Right.
now suddenly they've worked over the years, and let's say they have been failures by both political parties to confront change in America, not only with blacks. Again, I'm throwing that out because it's Black History Month, but with the rights of women, with the rights of gays. They have failed on many levels to make that Constitution come true for all people.
Right.
But it also has been helped by ignorance that has been pushed by our educational system to make you dumber when it comes to your civil rights and the civics and how the government works. This thing didn't happen because of one generation in the last decade, in the last half century. It's been at work longer, and we have failed. So it's up to us, grassroots, homeschooling, do whatever. You can't allow the system itself that wants to make you a slave to try to teach you how the system works. No system would ever do that. So that's what we have to do. We have to educate people. And that's what I see what we do as education, as what you do. Educate, not legislate, even with the DC project. This didn't happen overnight. We ain't going to fix it overnight. We're not going to win overnight. This is a long fight. As Coretta Scott King said, the fight for your rights is generational. It's won and lost with every generation. We are winning right now, but we have to learn how to win because a lot of us haven't. We've been taking losses. We've been watching our politicians reach across the aisle to the other side. I'm like, when it comes to my civil rights, the only reason you should reach across the aisle is to slap the hell out of somebody who's trying to take them.
Right.
That's the only reason you should reach across the aisle.
Yeah, this is
No
not a bargaining
compromise.
chip.
No compromise. Yep.
No. Now, when people say, Tony, you talk diversity, you'll talk to leftists, you'll talk to the socialists, understand something. I'll talk to all of those people. He's an anarchist. He wants to destroy America. I don't care if he has a firearm because he's not going to try to destroy America. No one did, including on January 6th when they ran into the building that people opened doors for him and didn't even knock over the velvet ropes. They didn't try to destroy America. I'm like, no, a person who does not believe in my version of the Democratic Republic still has to vote.
Yeah.
He's only one vote. I'm like, so no, they're not trying to destroy the country, or even if they want to, they can't. But they still should have the ability to defend themselves against people that are trying to harm them.
Absolutely.
Understand, my politics is Second Amendment politics only. That's all you're going to hear online because that's what I created online. I want you to be able to come from any political viewpoint and go, we need to fight for the Second Amendment. You're damn right. You're welcome on this team. But that's what you have to be overall. You have to accept it regardless of the color because we hear some stuff. I've heard stuff, especially when a larger amount of blacks were at SHOT Show and you see a lot of pictures. And some people feel safe in that comment section making negative comments about the number of minorities that we've seen at SHOT Show. I'm like, do you understand how much the industry's grown? I've been
That's
into,
a good thing.
you said you guys have been in the industry since the 80s. I've been in the gun since the 80s. I was that kid. I was that kid in the 70s staring in your gun store with my face up against the glass and my fingerprints in it, and I'm naming every gun in your counter. I've been there. I've watched it. I've watched me be a raisin in a bucket of rice at certain events to being a lot more color at these certain events. Why? Because it's grown and you should welcome it. Because we are not going to win depending on one party, one anything. We all have to get in this fight. And I think that's what they're seeing. When you see things like Rick Ector hosting his event and instructing 2,000 women in one weekend, when you see Kevin Dixie, Maj Toure, myself, you see Diana Mueller running her thing, you see Girl in the Gun, all this stuff is growing across the country. Operation Blazing Sword, when Aaron Paulette came up with that, I was one of the first ones to send the email. Hey, Aaron, I want to be a part of this. Because I was after the Pulse shooting in Florida where they attacked a LGBT club.
Mm-hmm.
And Aaron was like, wait a minute, I'm a prepper. I'm in the firearms community. I'm a firearms related podcast. Hey, anybody out there who's an NRA instructor that wants to teach somebody in the LGBT community who's interested in firearms? She thought, and I thought it was funny, she thought I'd at least have a couple of dozen people that'll want to be in on this. She was like, well, 20,000 emails later from people all across the country, I was like, oh my God, I have to start an organization to help organize this. I'm like, you dang right. So when you see my picture, Tony Simon Says, with me in a bubble bath, those t-shirt sales, half of the profits go to Aaron in Operation Blazing Sword.
I love it.
I
You
don't
gun
do
bunny,
this. Yeah, listen, when you got it, you gotta use it.
Gotta use
I
it.
thought gun bunnies wore bikinis.
Well, he has the bubble bath picture. I mean, that's
I have a bubble bath picture. So
I
much
guess
better.
that'll work. Yeah.
You have see, we laugh and everything because it is funny. But I'm like, name one gun bunny that has their own T-shirt.
That's true.
Name
And
it.
somewhere I have a patch of you in the bubble bath, but I should have got it out for today. But we need to start winding down a little bit and wrapping up. You know, I do want to punctuate what you were saying, that, you know, if anybody tries to say anything that's derogatory about bringing in new voices from every demographic, two things. One is, if you've ever been part of a minority, then you should be on the front lines protecting every syllable of your rights, right? And the other thing is that the Second Amendment, as much as the other side wants it to be a great divider, it is actually the most powerful uniter, because we all want to protect what we love. Right, Tony?
Exactly. You want to protect your children. You want to protect your property if you own a business. And the way you do that is have the ability to make someone instantaneously regret crossing that line because they have to have consequences. Writing strongly worded letters is not going to stop the guy that just kicked in your front door.
You mean the signs don't work?
Yeah,
The
Signs
signs
do
don't
not work.
right.
Well, depends on what that sign says it does. But that lock was on the door for your protection, sir.
Like,
But no,
oh,
signs
please,
don't
I'm
work.
writing him a strongly worded letter in real time. Hold on.
The only
Yeah.
sign that I
Stop shooting me.
the only sign that I know would work is enter here for $1 million. That would work.
Yeah, that'll work for me.
But that's the only one.
It is sad because I watched a friend of mine. Her last name is Geronimo. Kendra Geronimo, also known as Hustle Queen Online. She was in the Vice program, and one of the men said no one should have an AR-15. And she said, well, how am I supposed to protect myself against two people with an AR-15 if I don't have one if they try to break into my house? This genius says, run out of the house. She says, I have 2 children. I'm not going to run out of the house. I'm going to stand my ground, sir. And he was like, no, you need to leave in a situation like that. She says, I can't outrun a bullet from an AR-15.
Right.
And he has nothing to say. I haven't watched the whole Vice video only because that guy gave me eye cancer just
Yeah.
watching him. And I'm like, what kind of man would not protect his home? And that feeling, that outlook has been propagated throughout this country. And I watched it with my nephew because I got to watch a kid get raised in today's society where they tell you don't fight back, curl up on the floor and wait for a teacher to come save you.
Right.
And that kind of mentality creates that kind of thought process in an adult that someone else is going to save you. Don't fight back yourself. I'm telling you, this attack on our society, on our culture, has been multi-angled and generational. And we've let it creep in to someone else. We got rid of self-reliance. Somehow you've called that extremism. Yeah, self-defense is somehow selfish to
Right.
be able to take care of yourself. Trust the government has become something that,
It's a
again,
virtue.
the founders would be like, did you not read anything
I
we
know.
said?
I know. It's true. It's true.
I'm like,
True.
in an age, they wrote this in an age where people had a third grade reading level as adults. They could not have made it any simpler. And you've doubled down on stupid by listening to intelligent people tell you what shall not be in friends really means.
That's so true. It's so true. All right, Tony, we've got to run. Thank you so much for everything you do and for your daily encouragement on your social media. If you're not yet following Instagram, Tony Simon's Instagram, he's going to tell you how to right now.
Simon Says Train on Instagram. Simon Says Train on Facebook. The second is for everyone on Facebook. Second for everyone on Twitter. Please follow me or go to diversityshoot.com and listen to our podcast, the 2A4E podcast on your favorite podcast app.
Fantastic. Can't wait to see you in Phoenix on Saturday, February 18th, 2023. One of our awesome speakers at the rally.
Tony, last night we almost turned the air conditioner on in our house.
Yeah.
So it's going to be great weather. You're going to love it.
Thank goodness.
I know. You're probably snowed under. All right. Thanks so much, Tony. God bless.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Wow.
All right. Well, man, I could just talk to him all day long. And I'm just always encouraged by everything he has to say, which is why I was the one that got to invite the speakers to the Celebrate and Protect the Second Amendment rally here in Phoenix. And Tony was at the top of my list of people to include. That is going to be Saturday, February 18th, 2023 from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Wesley Bolin Plaza, which basically is the Arizona State Capitol in Phoenix. So find the Capitol. We're right across the
Easy
street.
to get to.
Can't miss us.
Beautiful day. Weather's going to be great.
Family friendly, Junior Patriot Park for the kids, lots of food trucks, delicious food trucks, and shopping vendors. It's really a day to come out with the family and bring the neighbors and just celebrate the rights we have, because when you're celebrating them, you want to hang on to them, right? All right. We got to get out of here. Thank you again to Tony Simon. Simon Says Train. Today it was Simon Says Speak Up. And to all of our listeners and viewers all over the world, wherever there's internet, we have an audience, and we just value you so much for spending time with us. If you want to watch this video over again or any of our videos, you can go to YouTube, GunStreamer, Rumble, the smartphone app called OpsLens, and just search our name. And if you want to listen to the audio only, go to GunFreedomRadio.com, click the On Demand tab, and
binge listens to your heart's content, darling.
You've really taken that up a notch, babe. And if you want to see photos and bios and links to, like Tony said, he's got a lot going on. He's got a fundraiser to help get him here to Arizona for the rally. Go to GunFreedomRadio.com, click the guest tab. There is a huge and growing database of subject matter experts that we've had on this show over the years. And when you spend time there, we don't hate that.
No, we don't.
All right. Until next time, we are going to pray for our nation.
Pray for our leaders, even the ones we don't like.
Even though?
Yep.
Maybe especially
pray for them.
The ones we don't like.
Just do it.
And until next time, be good to each other. Have a great week. And God bless.
Bye-bye.